Welcome to another episode of the 1942 Capehart 500M restoration. Once again, this is my personal set that we are restoring and documenting from start to finish. So, where we left off from the last video is it's time to service all three amplifiers. Before us we have the 1942 variation upgrade mid amplifier. And then we have the bass amplifier, and then the Capehart dealer in 1942 kept and utilized the 1937 mid or treble amp here for the treble speaker. You can see that's chrome plated, which was originally done back when the set was purchased brand new by the original owner, Nathan Miller. And of course in the upgrade, which is 1942 from Farnsworth Television Corporation, who bought Capehart in 1938, they stopped chrome plating and stopped offering the 500 by 1942 unless a special order. Even at special order, they did not offer chrome plating services like they did, say, previously leading up to 1940. So, with that said, let's go ahead and take a look here at the chassis. Of course, they are weathered. They have seen the test of time. This unit was originally in storage from 1952, better yet 1947, until my purchasing of 2021. Both the 1942 amplifiers are practically identical on the top side. So here they both sit once again. Your 400 level amplifiers are identical to what we have here for this 500. We have push-pull 6v6 output tubes, 4 on each chassis. You can see the 4 right there. Now at some point a long time ago, maybe pre-1947, there's supposed to be, I think, 5Y4s, 3 of them, rectifier tubes. This one's gone to air. You could see that as 5V4. Now that may be a perfectly fine substitute, is my guess, and this was probably done during World War II when they needed radio tubes for the war effort. I would imagine that substitution was done then. We'll be taking it back to the factory specifications here in terms of tube lineup. So we have surface rust on both these chassis. For now, in phase 1 of this restoration, we're just going to get everything running and service everything. Phase 2 down the road, we'll be discussing a cosmetic facelift for both of these chassis. Now that also includes this original 1937 chrome-plated 500 chassis. We will be chrome plating this down the road, painting the transformers, getting it to look really nice cosmetically. So this is an older amplifier. You can see here the original plug. That well, this has never really had a plug in 37 on the 400s. But on the 1942 500, there's a junction box that is utilized. So you can see they added a plug here to the AC wires. The original electrolytic cans are still here. We have our original tubes, these 4, and this rectifier. Now this one is added. There's a modification done at some point. There's a 12SQ7 is added right here, which brings the tube line up on this original 1937 500 amplifier. Brings the tube line up to 6, right? 4, 5, 6. 6 tubes, so this is an addition that you would not see originally when the set was purchased brand new. So there's also another modification here on, I'm pretty sure it's this chassis. We will be looking into that here during our electronic servicing. But you can see this amplifier is totally different than the other two. It's got a beefier transformer. I'm pretty sure on the West Coast there in Long Beach, sometime around 1937, I think they're running 50 cycle on their line voltage. So this is a larger transformer as a result. Chrome plating has seen better days. We have the old-fashioned terminal strips here on the side that are still utilized in this 1942 upgrade. So once again, this was the original this is one of the 3 original 500E chassis that would have resided in the original 500E that Nathan Miller purchased. In 1942, received an upgrade where they removed 2 of the original amplifiers and replaced them with the latest in electronics in 1942, which would make the machine now a 500M for 1942. So it was rather interesting how they incorporated the brand new electronics at the time, but also utilized and revitalized one of the original amplifiers, and this is one of the smaller ones. There was two small ones like this and a large one in the original 500E layout. So with that said, you can see here our three chassis. I did do a light cleaning already, but I will do more. We'll have to replace the power cords. They're crunchy, and sadly they utilize molded plugs. It's very hard to find in today's world, so that we're still looking into to try to replicate an original setup or something that's close to. This plug right here was added in 1942 when they did the upgrade. It's been modified to where this will plug in to the input of the treble amplifier here. So there were some extensive modifications done to this when it was upgraded in 1942. Let's go ahead and check out the underside of the chassis. Here is the underside of all three chassis. Now this one is the bass chassis for the bass speaker. That's the 18-inch Jensen. Now you see right here the Solon capacitor. Now, this is a modification that is not part of the original schematic. So this is lacking in the other chassis. As you can see here, there's a hole there, but nothing mounted like there is here. So this is the bass chassis for the bass function of the machine, and you can see all the original capacitors are still in place. Of course, the Solon was added probably at the time of modification 1942. You can see this side is blown out of this capacitor. Now I did not fire up this machine when I got it, so when I received it, you know, it basically been a time capsule since at least 1952, if not 1947, when the original owner died. You can see this cap is blown out right here on the left-hand side. So we have our original resistors here, electrolytic network, and then as we go down the line to our rectifier tubes, we also have a bar resistor here with several different taps on it. So another interesting point is this right here. This mica is I think 2 microfarads, or well, sometimes you can read them by following the arrows. So that's what 103 is. Maybe it's 0.03 or something. 0.003, I think. So this chassis has them installed, but this chassis does not. You can see where they were actually cut during installation 1942. There's a reason for all this. There's a reason for everything. So our main goal here is to basically try to replicate what was done, I guess what we think is in 1942 when they did the upgrades. Modifications may improve the performance. Either way, they were done for a reason, and we're going to replicate that here when we do our repairs. Once again, these are repairs initially, restoration down the road for these amplifiers, because they're going to be quite involved cosmetically. So we're going to keep this capacitor replaced with the same value, even though it's not on the schematic. And this is our output section here. You can see our 1000 volt capacitor here, so that's critical that it's rated the same voltage. This is our mid section, mid amplifier for our mid speaker, a 14-inch Jensen. You see here it's basically a semi-exact layout. The bar resistor is a little different looking here. That may have been a production change in 1942 when these were produced. I've already kind of serviced this, so this chassis is unserviced, untouched. Now, I've already been into this one a little bit. I've been working on this on and off with other projects. So you can see here we've already replaced the electrolytic network with brand new components. Everything is soldered in place with new wiring. And we've also changed a few other electrolytics and non-polarized capacitors. So that network is pretty much done, and we just have to do a few more wax capacitors. This is our treble amplifier, which we've already worked on a little bit as well. You can see here our electrolytic network has been replaced. We have the old-fashioned bar resistor here, a power resistor, which has several taps. And we're going to work on this section next. And this is this is a replacement capacitor, and it's plastic dip, so it's from the late 40s. And this is added, and so is a resistor behind it that is not in the original schematic. So once again, these modifications took place for a reason. We're going to replicate everything. These are original capacitors, original resistors here. This is a replacement that may be a replacement, that's a replacement. So we have a lot of work ahead of us here on the amplifiers. We're going to go ahead and dig in, repair them electrically, and when we come back, we will have all three completed, and then we will move on to the extended control and also the radio tuner. Stay tuned.